Welcome. Hey, Sanders, we'll just wait for a few more to tune in and then we'll get stuck into it. As always, comment your thoughts. Let me know what you were thinking during the game, during the final stages, how you're feeling as well. G'day, Will. Thanks for joining, mate. Sorry I'm a bit late. I just got back from the Bentley Socials. So, yeah, stuck around for a little bit longer. Thanks for everyone for coming along to the Bentley Social as well. It was probably the best atmosphere that I've experienced at the Bentley Social. Not the biggest crowd, but definitely the most energy. So it was a lot of fun. So first of all, thanks to everyone for coming along. That was, that was awesome. They all brought the energy, singing the chants, doing all that stuff. It meant a lot. So thank you guys for coming along. A lot of people very happy about Max King. Comment your thoughts as well, but yeah, obviously Max King was a big highlight, kicked the 4 goals, looked very, very nice indeed. But then on the flip side, obviously all our thoughts are with Mitchie Owens and making sure that he has a very speedy recovery. That was a very, very ugly situation. And obviously the hammer, Anthony Caminiti, took it to heart, obviously, and felt very bad. You could tell he was a bit shook after that whole event. And we all just want to say, love the way Hammer finished the game in the last 2 quarters, played physical, was a big factor in our forward line, competed all day, didn't kick the goals, but at ground level was a beast. And I think halftime came at a good time for him, just for the boys to huddle and just make him known that he was going for the footy and he has nothing to be upset about. It was just one of those 1 in a million situations. And it was also really good on the flip side to see that the boys didn't put their heads down after that situation, because you see so many teams in years gone by where they have that situation and it just affects the rest of the game. They're not switched on, they're a bit shaken up, and that kind of happened to us against Brisbane last year when D-Mac, if you all remember, went up for a mark, landed really heavily on his head, and I think it was a game where Owens might have gone off as well. I believe it or not. And we just didn't recover after that in that game. And then for that second half of the season, really. But on to this game, we've taken the chocolates. We won by 2 goals, 80-92. It was a really hard-fought game. It was a game where it was goal for goal and also miss for miss and miss for goal. There were so many opportunities for us to probably get a bit of a bigger buffer on the game. We had stages in that second quarter where I thought we dominated, and then obviously in the third term, I thought we dominated most of that quarter, but unfortunately we just couldn't put the score on the board as much as we would have liked. We had some chances. Mitch Owens took a good mark, missed directly in front of goal. Dan Butler had a chance. There were numerous chances in this game where we probably could have created a bit more of put a bit more scoreboard pressure on the Giants, but we didn't. And then as a result of that, as is the case in AFL football, it goes down the other end. GWS, as I mentioned in my preview, and as they've done all season, play very, very quickly off half-back. They go through the guts. They're very aggressive. It's very high-risk, high-reward football. And for the most part of the game, they got high reward. They got it out the back. They got one-on-ones. A couple of mistakes along the way from us, and they capitalized on that, which was really frustrating. Obviously, it's, again, one of the highest scores we've conceded for the season, 80 points. But I think that probably more alludes to how well our defense has been. But I thought for the most part, our forward line looked a little bit more, I guess, dangerous because of Max King. He found his spots. He looked very good from start to finish. And, 4 goals on his return when we all said, "Oh, don't worry, Maxie, just take it easy, mate. Take it easy. We don't expect much from you." But he threw that out the window and was like, "I'm Max King. I'm here to make a difference." And in the end, in a 2-goal game, 4 goals from Max King from your full forward is a big factor, and it's almost match winning, really. So for him to do that was excellent. I thought that it was funny. Probably 10 minutes into the second quarter, I turned to Joycey at the Bentley Social and I was like, I reckon Sinks isn't really on because he had made a few little skill errors that's kind of uncharacteristic towards him. But from that moment onwards, it's like he just took the piss. I don't know what he finished with stats wise. I'll double check now, but I'm pretty confident he's getting the 3 votes. I think he kicked the 2 goals as well. Really important goals, mind you. What did he finish on? Jack Sinclair, 37 disposals and 2 goals with 8 marks, 733 meters gained off 84% game time. That's bonkers. Jack Steele was next best, 25 disposals, 11 tackles, 77 game on time on ground, and obviously 2 goal assists, which I think was equal most in our team. No, Mason Wood 3. Mason Wood 3 was number 1, but Jack Sinclair, that was as close to the steal that we've seen in years gone by. It was good to see him get that physicality back, and that's one way that I'll summarize this game, Saners, before I get into your comments, is it wasn't the cleanest game. It wasn't the best football we've played all season, obviously, but over the last month, I feel like we lost that sort of mongrel, that sort of hard intensity. And I think in this game, that was a bit more of what we've come to enjoy in the first 6 rounds. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I felt like, things didn't come off, but we were still trying. We were still tackling. We were still chasing. There were gaps in the game where I thought we weren't there. But for the majority of the game, I thought we were really in the game. And despite it being, goal for goal and could have gone either way, I really kind of felt pretty confident that in the end we would have enough to get over the Giants. And in the end, that proved to be correct. I thought that Jack Higgins was excellent, 3 goals. Jade Gresham was probably his best game of the season, 17 and 2. I thought he was really critical with 6 tackles as well for Jade Gresham. So, for a player that doesn't really do the hard yards like that, he did a great job. Dan Butler, I thought, was really good with 2 goals, 5 tackles inside 50. And then in terms of marks, I think Cal Wilkie would have been up there. Nasiah Wanganeen-Malira, 29 disposals with 10 marks on top of that. Liam Stocker was beautiful, 24 disposals and 10 marks. Cal Wilkie, 22 and 9. Mason Wood, 21 and 7. Jimmy Webster on return, 14 disposals and 7 marks. So I thought that despite the game being, ebbing and flowing, and it was kind of sometimes pretty ugly, sometimes a bit clumsy, I thought it was the sort of game that could really get us going for the rest of the year. A really important win. Obviously, in my preview, I said GWS aren't really as bad as what their position in 15th position reflected. I thought that their form was better than that. In every game, they've been within 20 points, 21 points, except for the game last week against Collingwood when they lost by 10 goals. But on the flip side, they've been really competitive. They've got some really good players. Obviously, Toby Green returned today. Jesse Hogan was good. Brett Daniels was good. Cornelio was good. Lockie Whitfield was good. They were good. Finn Callahan, solid 20 disposals. I mean, they did what they needed to do, but again, they just didn't. We just had that edge when it counted, and I think it's a really important win. It's a win on the road. Then they never come easy. Wins on the road, as we know. So to get the 4 points, 7 and 3, and then you got Hawthorn at Marvel again before the bye, I think is really critical. So we got Membry, I would imagine, would come in for Owens. And then Windy got 21 today at Sandy, and Bytel got 36 with 9 clearances. So I think players like, Burnsy, I don't know what he did in the end, but I thought he was pretty good. He had the 18, and then you've got Seb Ross. Where was Seb Ross? 12 disposals for Seb Ross. He would be in my firing line, when it comes to picking Bytel and Windy. Seb Ross is a senior boy, I know, but again, very quiet game by his standards and made a few, disappointing errors. Brad Crouch, 19. So overall, I thought it was a pretty even performance. I thought that the Giants were good, but I thought we just kind of hung in there until our moment came, and it did late in the game, and that was enough to get the win. So that's my thought, saying it's not the prettiest win, but we kicked in over 90 points, 13-14. We had a lot of chances, 27 scoring shots to 20. It could have been a lot bigger of a margin, but nonetheless, it's still a win. So let's get into your comments. Mitch says, good effort in the end. Glad we won. Absolutely, mate. It's all about the effort for Ross Lyon, and he got that tonight, so he'd be very happy with that. Evan says, thanks for another great Bentley social gather. No worries, mate. Thank you very much for coming along. And to every Sainer that turned up, it was awesome. And they didn't just stand there and watch the game. They got involved. They sang the songs. They clapped. They chanted. They cheered. And enjoyed a win in the end, which is really good to experience at the Bentley Social. Glad Mitch has turned out okay. It's from Sean. Absolutely. Good to see that he was on the bench. I really thought it was a situation where I thought, okay, he's getting rushed straight to hospital and we're not going to see him for a very long time. Career sort of changing scenario, kind of like Cozzy in a way. You kind of just, you hope that they come back the same player that before the injury. And yeah, I think it looked bad, but Mitch Owens is a bloody tough guy. Like, I can't believe he was on the bench and they didn't rush him away. So that's good signs. Hopefully it's just concussion and nothing structurally, because that's the first thing I thought when I saw the replay was, oh God, Caminiti's knee's gone into his face. That's bone damage. That could be serious, on top of obviously the concussion, but it looks like it's no structural damage and just concussion. None, mate. I don't drink beer, but hopefully you've enjoyed the win and you've had a few as well. I'm on the Reds. I only had a couple as well. This is from William. Max King played well for coming back from injury so late, but way closer than I'd like. Yeah, I mean, that's just how it is, saying is like, we're not going to win games by 50 points every single week. That's just kind of, you're going to get close games, but you'd rather win them than lose them. Absolutely. Marcus says, was so happy to see Owens on the bench after halftime. Was scary seeing that on field. Absolutely, mate. I think we all felt that watching it. Jasper says the King is back. The King was back. I would say he is back. Great return from Max. That's from Keith. Paul says, you little beauty. Well done, Sainers, on a very tough, hard-fought win. Wasn't pretty, but a win is a win. Absolutely. Luke says, was always going to be a tough game, 6 or 7 out of 10 performance. Yeah, you take that every single day of the week. The Giants, they've got a lot of talent on the park, and at some point it'll come together and they'll be a very good team. But yeah, glad that we got the win. It wasn't an easy win. And I kind of like that. I kind of like that we were challenged for pretty much the entire game. Hard yards, nice wine. That's from Adam. Yep, mate, you would know better than anyone about the nice wine. That's your area of expertise. Sinks and Naz were great today. Yeah, a combined, 65 disposals or something between them and over a kilometre meters gained. Absolutely bonkers from our halfbacks. But I think Sinks played through the guts quite a bit as well. And I think that's where he does most of his damage, which is awesome. This is from Beth. I just love these players. None I dislike. Want them all fit, well, happy and confident. Love that from Beth. Guys, it's great seeing Max back looking like he hadn't spent any time out, and Sinclair was on another level. Yeah, when we needed that class, Sinks seized the moment, didn't he? And he just kind of took control of the game. Francis says, after the last month of Saints footy, I'm so thankful that my employer does not enforce mandatory training. Yeah. I mean, it was one of those games, wasn't it? Where it was really stressful, really intense, couldn't sit back and relax for pretty much any of it. But now we can, because we got the 4 points. How awesome is it being playing scrappy footy and still getting 4 points? Imagine when it all comes together. We can't complain like other seasons. I agree. I mean, I don't think this is a sort of performance like the North game where it was an ugly game overall, and for a neutral, it was ugly to watch. I think for a neutral, this game would have been pretty exciting to watch. It was goal for goal, high scoring, a lot of pressure, a lot of mistakes, but tough, hard footy from start to finish. So completely different game to the North game in my eyes. Where we got now? Sandy. We'll go 4 to King. Thank goodness Mitch seems to be all right. And what about St. Clair or Sinclair? Just wow, fellas. Yeah. I mean, he was nuts. You dare say they'd be top 5 career best games for Jack Sinclair. Like, it was that good. And he's had a few decent games. Adam says, g'day, Jake. Great gutsy win. Yeah, absolutely it was, mate. Can we please keep Sinclair in the mid full time? His added class was incredibly noticeable in the second half. Well, if you've got players like Stocker and Naz doing such a good job off halfback like they are, and Jimmy Webster as well, I thought he offered a bit of rebound with his kicking. Not so much his pace, but his kicking carries 50 meters really well. I think, yeah, you can afford to put Sinks into the middle. And It's just a good plan B when you know you need that bit of class, bit of pace, composure in the middle when the game's on the line. You know who to go to, and it's Jack Sinclair. You put him in the middle, and things happen. Trude says, such a great night at the Bentley Social. Thanks, Trude. Thanks for coming along. Glad you had a really good time. And to be honest, even if we hadn't have won, I still felt like the atmosphere at the Bentley Social was awesome. It was that sort of experience. So if any Sainer that hasn't had the opportunity to go to the Bentley Social yet, and you're in Melbourne, you're around, an hour from the Bentley Social, and we're doing one in probably 2 or 3 weeks' time after the bye, Thursday night against Sydney. Get along. It is a fun time. Discounted drinks, food, Saints vibes. It's awesome. Cardman22 joins. Let's go, Jakey. Yep, mate. That was good. You were there, mate. So you saw it firsthand. So I'm excited to see what your vlog's all about. But good on you for going down, and all the traveling Sainers as well. Well represented as always. The ground itself, though, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts, Cardi. But the ground itself, I think Joycey said it was re-turfed. Not the best turf to be on. The players were slipping around. The ball was bouncing at right angles. It was very unpredictable on the bounce, thanks to the turf. Not up to AFL standards, I wouldn't have thought. But when you win, you kind of overlook those things. Dan says, if there was a stat for accidentally unknowingly playing on after a mark, then I'm pretty sure we would be top. It's true. We do like to move the ball fairly quickly, but sometimes too quickly. I think Filippo was kind of guilty of that, where he just go for that handball pass, for the player running past too often. And often that player was under pressure and it just turned the ball over. So I think I thought we were better when we slowed the game down, played more kicking, more leading, and that's exactly what we did in the first 6 weeks. We didn't overhandball. We chipped it around. We picked our moments to go, and then we went. Leland says, Stocker was solid as a rock again this evening. He has elite foot skills and brings a ruthless mindset down back, which is critical. Great to see him performing well. And there was a passage where the bloke was in front of him and he just barreled him out of the way. Just that physicality, that mongrel from Stocker. I thought that lifted us a little bit, because probably for the first quarter and a half, I thought it was quite a soft game. GWS weren't going in too hard, and I thought that we could have hit the ball and the man a bit harder. And after that moment, I felt like we all did. Mia says, Gresh playing like he wants a contract. Yeah, that's an interesting situation, Mia. I really want us to keep him. He's worth the money. A game like today where, when he was in the middle, he got us some really important clearances, but then when he went forward, he kicked 2 really clutch goals. That's what you want from someone like Jade Gresham. And when you think about it, no one in our team does it as well as Jade Gresham. And a lot of teams would want someone like him. So I really want us to, identify that situation and go, well, he's really, a lot of other clubs rate him. We need to keep him. We need to keep him. He's too dangerous. He's the sort of player that late in a final, put him out of the square, he'll make something happen. You need a Jade Gresham in your team. Raymond's asking, do we play Windy and Bytel next week? I think we should. We've got Hawthorn. It just depends on who comes out. I think that Filippo probably needs a rest, and I think that Seb Ross or Ryan Burns or someone like that could get omitted. Ben Patton was the sub. I don't know what he finished on in the end, but I think he did quite well, Pato. What did he finish with? 7. Okay, so I don't know. I think both deserve to play. They've done enough at Sandy. Even Jack Billings saying us, would you bring him in next week? Jack Billings he's had probably 4 or 5 games at Sandy now, generally done a lot of good things at Sandy. He's probably deservedly, a chance of playing next week. You would have thought, against Hawthorn, who actually had a big win today. So they'll be up and about. What else we got here? We got Eileen. Was so pleased with how Max King played, kicking 4 goals and was very accurate. Yeah, I thought Kingy looked great. He looked really hungry in the contest. So it was great to see. And yeah, I haven't mentioned him too much, but Marshall, bloody hell, 30 hitouts, 24 disposals, 3 marks and 2 tackles, as Sam mentions. His third quarter was ridiculous. Like, I know Sinclair took the game by the scruff of the neck and ran with it, but Rowan Marshall's third quarter was a standout for me. When you watch the replay, Saners, watch Rowan Marshall. He's at every contest. He's physical. He's playing angry. He gets to the ball first. He plays hard footy, and he gets the ball moving in our direction more times than not. And some of his tap work I thought was actually really good. So Rowan Marshall, it's a joke that no one's mentioning him as an All-Australian shout in this team, because everyone froths at Tim English, but I genuinely think that Rowan Marshall's a better player than Tim English. So he's having an amazing season. Whether he's All-Australian or not doesn't really matter, but I just think he just deserves a little bit more credit for me. Nick says, Jake, if we could add one key position player, what position would it be? I think probably a genuine fullback or a genuine halfback. I think that it's those two, or either like a genuine game-breaking sort of midfielder, like a Horn Francis to Goey type in the middle that's explosive and can go forward and kick goals. Gresham's like that, but I think he just doesn't have that size about him, like that Clayton Oliver size where he can just break through a tackle and get the ball moving forward at all costs. I think we'd like that. I think Dukes actually, that reminds me, speaking of fullbacks, but I thought Dukes probably played his best game in a long time, apart from late in the third where he made a few pretty costly errors. I thought that he was really good, and Kel Wilkie was good again. So to me, probably a backman or just sort of a game-breaking sort of midfielder. But Filippo could probably develop into that exact player that I'm looking for in about 5 years' time. What else we got? Vince says, hard-fought win. King hasn't lost an ounce of his game and was good to Owens. And was good to Owens, was all right in the end. Big game against the Hawks next week. Absolutely. The Hawks are going to be up and about, but we've had a good record against them lately, so I'm backing that we'll hopefully perform strongly. What else we got here before we wrap it up, Saners? Appreciate all you tuning in as well. Sorry again for being a bit later. Just had to drive back from the Bentley Social. Stocker is Solo. That's from Ari. Absolutely, mate. He was on point. He's such a good pickup. Like, unreal that Carlton just delisted this bloke. Like, he'd be probably in the first 5 names on the team, like in the magnets on the board if I was coach. Stocker back pocket every day of the week. He's such a good player, and I'd love to see him thrown into the midfield. I wish we had the luxury of doing that, because I just feel like he'd give us something else in the middle when we need. So he's an awesome pickup. Absolutely love Stocker. Billings, I think he had 24 disposals today. No goals, no points, but 24 disposals, 6 marks, solid outing for JB. So I think that's enough to consider him a chance to play next week against the Hawks. Yes, Luke, good point. Dealing with the red time goals. They were bloody frustrating. I reckon first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, late, within a minute, the final minute of those quarters, I think we conceded a goal in each of them. Not good. Not good at all. Reb says, how long is Mitch out? I would dare say definitely next week, obviously protocol. Obviously the bye, I would say the Thursday against Sydney he probably misses, but I reckon the round after that, I reckon is a chance. So not round 11, 12, 13. I reckon round 14. Give him 3 to 4 weeks. I reckon he's back. We've got Membry coming back, so let's kind of ease it in and have Caminiti, Membry, King. We've got the 3 focal points there. I don't think we're going to miss too much. Obviously, he's a very special player and he's good in the ruck as well. So that's probably where it affects us the most. He chops out Rowe. So we're going to have Caminiti. I don't know if Zane Cordy plays that role if he comes back in, but I think with Membry coming back in, we won't see Zane Cordy for much of the season. Yeah, Cardman agrees. Turf was pretty average. Looked very patchy. Yeah. I'm glad that no one got injured, because there was a point where I think Mason Wood took a mark and a bit of the turf came up and it was all sand. It was all just sand. It's like, that's not really a sign you want to see in an AFL game. Yeah, I loved Hilly's game. There were a few things didn't go his way, but he kept at it. And then there were a few crucial holding the balls that he got late in the game, which was really important. Got us over the line. So good to see Hilly in good form again. Yeah, that'd be nice. 2 or 3 Sinclairs would be beautiful, mate. I agree. And we'll wrap it up with maybe 1 or 2 more. What else we got? I'll go with Dino. Do you think we will keep the form across the year? That's a hard one to answer, mate. But you have to say for 10 weeks, we've probably been in 9 games, We lost to Port Adelaide, but we're in the game up until the last 5 minutes. Adelaide's the only game where from start to finish, we were not in it. So out of 10 games, we've been in 9 and we could have won 9, So we've won 7 of that, what I thought could be 9 winnable games. You take that every day of the week and you run. With the injuries we've had, the the changes we've had over the offseason. I think that's unreal. And I think the way we play is something we can deliver on a consistent basis. We've proven it for 10 weeks. Obviously, we've got one more game and then we've got the bye. And then after the bye, it resets. The season starts again. So last year, I know everyone's got PTSD about this, but 8-3 at the bye, we fell away, but I just can't see it happening under Ross Lyon this year. I think he'll play it a lot smarter and keep us a lot more level going into every game. Bartel with 36 touches for Sandy. Yep, that was huge. I think I might wrap it up there, Sainers. It was a great win. It was a tough, hard-fought game, I thought. Not the best game overall, like skills-wise, but in the end, it's a sort of game where I think it brought out our heart, it brought out our hunger and our desire. And I think that's the biggest thing we've been missing in the last month of football, to be honest, is that drive, that hunger, that anger, just that want for the footy and that willingness to do everything it takes to win the game. And in the end, we did. We did everything it took to win this game. We never stopped for a second. We never tried to deviate from our plan. We played our way the whole game. And in the end, it came out on top. So we should be happy. It doesn't matter if it's a 12-point or a 50-point win at this point of the season. It's just get the win. King gets through it unscathed, kicks the 4, and we're 7-3, and we're equal. We're equal 4th or 3rd or whatever it is on the ladder. So, be happy, Sainers. We've got Hawthorn next. It's going to be a big game, obviously back at Marvel. So make sure you get there early. I turn that hanger, Francis. Yeah, no, I usually hang something there, to be honest. But yeah, thanks, Sainers, for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow night for the podcast. We've got fan cams as well. They'll be on the way early tomorrow. And then, there's a few big things coming on the channel, so stay tuned. I can't reveal too much yet because there's a lot in the works, but I reckon in the next week or two, we'll have a bit more of a clearer picture on a few things, and I'm really excited to share it with you. So, to all the Sainers watching, thank you very much. And to all the Sainers that came to the Bentley Social, again, thank you very much. Appreciate all your support, Sainers. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're on it now. Follow us on Instagram at Saints TV Pod. On YouTube, if you subscribe, you will win, or you'll go into the chance of winning that signed Nick Rewalt portrait. It's bloody beautiful. So if you haven't subscribed, you're a Sainer, go on YouTube, Saints TV Pod, subscribe, and you might win that thing. Seriously, for free. I gave a Nicky Dell one. It's in Queensland. The guy's stoked. You might win that as well. So subscribe, Instagram at Saints TV Pod, and I'll see you very soon, Sainers. Saints TV Weekly will be out tomorrow as well. There's just a lot of content. Not a day goes by where there's no Saints TV. So, appreciate your support, and I'll see you very soon. But until then, take care. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. And as always, go you mighty Sainers. See you guys.